Welcome to Talk of the Nation from the Champions Club at Allegiant Stadium. I'm JT, and this is our final episode of the season, and it's a big one. Hall of Famer Terrell Davis will join us, along with future Hall of Famer Charles Woodson. The Silver and Black could not finish games in December, and now they're on the outside watching the playoffs at home. I thought the Raiders had all the makings of a playoff team in 2020, especially with the 6-3 record. It looked promising. And no excuses, they earned this record. Now John Gruden and the Raiders must finish strong in Denver and make a statement going into a very important offseason. Let's begin with Raiders insider Vinny Bonsignore from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And Vinny, a December to forget. No excuses in the NFL. Everybody's dealing with COVID and injuries, but it seemed to hit the Raiders at a horrible time, just as they were poised to make a run at home in December.
You know, it did, and you know, we were talking all year about a young defense, going all the way back to OTAs and mini camps that didn't happen, and about how many young players the Raiders were going to have to rely on defensively on top of some newcomers that were new to the building in free agency, and they didn't get that chance to build that foundation. Not to make any excuses whatsoever, but I think it was reflected in how this unit played, and on top of that, you had COVID-19 injuries. I can't remember a last time the Raiders defense was fully intact to play a game, let alone missing multiple pieces. And again, not to make excuses, but 3 times since the middle of November, the Raiders offense gave the defense a lead in overtime with 1 minute and 43 left to play and with 19 seconds left to play. And the defense failed to hold up their end of the bargain. Those are 3 losses that if you turn that around, if the defense makes stops, and those games were at home, by the way, we're talking about a 10-win team right now that's going to Denver to get their 11th win or try to get their 11th win and punch a ticket to the playoffs. It's 8 points separates this team from being 7-9 and trying to avoid another losing season and potentially punching their ticket to the playoffs. There's issues defensively that they have to get fixed, but it's closer than people think. And if a playoff caliber offense just got a little bit more support from this defense, this is a different story this year.
Yeah, you nailed it. And Fitzmagic did his thing, but the defense for 3 quarters last week played inspired football, which is a good sign.
Yeah, I thought that they did. A little bit was that Tua wasn't quite seeing the field, but in terms of pressure, they got 3 sacks, which was the most sacks that they've gotten in about a month. Guys were flying around. It looked like, and John Gruden alluded to this, you know, they may have minimized the playbook a little bit, gotten down to just more basic type of stuff and stuff that, you know, is conducive to the talent that they have on hand. And I just feel like with the condensed playbook, guys were flying around and making plays and playing more instinctually rather than thinking.
Great thing about the NFL business is that after the Super Bowl, everybody's undefeated and you can start anew. What do you think some of the top priorities are, in your opinion, for John Gruden and Mike Mayock this offseason?
Well, when you talk about a defense that's 11th in scoring, 7th in points per drive, high efficiency, except for touchdowns in the red zone, scoring 14 touchdowns of 20-plus yards or more, which doubled their total of last year, and there's still a game left to play. There's a lot to like about this offense. I think there's some tinkering that you can do. Hopefully that, you know, some young players like Henry Ruggs and Brian Edwards through another offseason get better and mature and take a step forward. But I think the offense is where it basically needs to be, short of a little bit of tinkering. I think everything else is focused on this defense first. Hire a defensive coordinator with some vision and some energy, a new message, maybe a new scheme. That's going to be critical. I think getting young players that are currently on the roster in the building in a normal offseason, and we're all keeping our fingers crossed that that's going to be the case, that we're going to be able to manage COVID-19 a little bit better so that these guys have a regular offseason. I think that's going to be critical for guys like Damon Arnett and Trayvon Mullen and Jonathan Abram and Cleve Farrell. These guys are part of the answer. They just need to get that foundation built during the offseason, which they didn't have a chance to do last year. And then, of course, through the draft, free agency, there will be money to play with in free agency. I think 90% of the focus needs to be fixing that defense, and it starts with the defensive coordinator.
Well, Vinny, there's still one more game to go. What are you expecting from the Raiders this Sunday versus Denver?
Well, it looks like Darren Carr is going to play through to the finish line. Credit him for being the competitor that he is and wanting to be out there. I wouldn't be surprised if there might be some packages for Marcus Mariota. The Raiders need to figure out what they have in him, not in terms of a starter. This is Derek Carr's team. But could he be a piece next year that you can write in a situational package for him for a 16-game schedule? Do you want to maybe get a look at him to see, if there's any trade value there? Remember, the Raiders have an option on Marcus Mariota for next year, so they control that situation, but they could also maybe, create a market for him and be able to recoup some draft picks. But I think it's essential that they at least find out, hey, can Marcus Mariota help us? Not as the starter. This is Derek Carr's team, as I said, but somebody situationally who can help, maybe in those red zones to increase that red zone touchdown percentage that has been hovering around 55% this year. On top of that, would like to see a defense now that's going to have a bunch of players back. It looks like not Cleve Farrell, he's out for the year, but just get that another game under the belt for that young defense. And also, I want to see Henry Ruggs have a game. I want to see the Raiders. Look, there's nothing to play for at this point. Even if you have to force the issue a little bit to get the ball to Henry Ruggs to see what he could do in certain situations, I think it behooves the Raiders to get that process started as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Vinny. We'll be listening on Raider Nation Radio. Coming up next, one of the Raiders' all-time greats, Charles Woodson, joins us on Talk of the Nation.
This has been brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights. Book now, only at Allegiant.com. Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Intermountain Healthcare, helping people live the healthiest lives possible. Presented by San Manuel Casino, official Southern California casino of Allegiant Stadium.
Welcome back to Talk of the Nation. We welcome in one of the all-time great football players, Charles Woodson. And Charles, another tough loss against the Dolphins. And it seems to be a common theme in the second half of the season as the Raiders haven't been able to close out these games. How do you see it?
Well, I think you just said it. I think they've, offensively, I feel like they've put themselves in a position to win games all year. And I think when it comes down to, end of game situations or allowing the fourth quarters to get away from them, the defense hasn't been able to step up and make the stops that it needed. If you look at the long touchdown run with the pass play to the receiver from Miami, where he makes a couple guys miss and then runs up the sideline, that's a heartbreaker right there. You got the team right where you want them, and then all of a sudden you let them back in the game with a big play. So I think, for this team, moving forward, that's the one thing that they have to address is that, when we get up, we get leads late in the game, we got to protect the lead.
Charles, a ton to get into with you, but before we break it all down, I want your thoughts on the importance of going into Denver and playing with pride and finishing strong so the team doesn't go into a long off season with a bad taste in their mouth.
JT, that's what the game is all about, man. Nobody wins a championship every year. Nobody makes it to the playoffs every year. Of course, some more than others, but, a lot of teams are going to be playing, this week and their vacation is going to start, as soon as that game is over. But it's all about going out there, each and every time you touch the field and giving it everything you got. It's not about what's going to happen in the off season or what your plans are. You got to focus in for 3.5 hours on game day, the last game of the season, and just go out there and play with some pride, man. Put good effort out there on the film. The one thing I try to always pride myself in is when you turn the film on, I wanted you to see 24, man. I wanted you to notice me. So hopefully those guys go out there with that same mindset, the last game of the season, put it all out there and leave it all out on the field.
Charles, some positives. Darren Waller needs to be in the conversation along with Kelsey and Kittle as the best tight end in the game. What have you seen with his growth?
You're exactly right. Talking to a group, I think it was a Raiders group earlier this year, and I think Waller was like 90th rated player, in the top 100 or something like that. And I said, man, this guy will probably move up, 70 spots. And that's exactly what should happen. He's one of the best young players in the game right now. And when you talk about tight ends, Kelsey, Kittle, and those guys, Darren Waller is right there with them. No questions asked. So When people speak about tight ends and they talk about who's the top in the game, please mention Darren Waller.
Charles, the offense put up points all season. They did struggle in the red zone a bit down the stretch, but clearly this offseason the Raiders need to examine this defense. This division is loaded, and they're going to have to compete with Justin Herbert, Mahomes for years to come. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a passing league, and when you talk about that, AFC West with Herbert coming in, and then you already have Mahomes, you got guys that can sling it around, and they got weapons to throw to. You think about the weapons that they have in Kansas City. You think about a Keenan Allen type of guy down there with the Chargers. You got weapons that you got to go against, man, and you got to be able to, put guys out on the field that understand football, understand situations, know how to get off the field, and just have that will, to go out there and win. So they're definitely going to have to address that. They're going to have to be able to get after the quarterback. We need pressure. Quarterbacks we can't allow those guys to sit back and have time and pick our defense apart. So I think that's the one thing that has to be addressed is, man, we got to be able to get pressure on the quarterback.
We're about a month away from the Pro Football Hall of Fame announcement. Amazing, because it seems just like yesterday you were flying through the air, intercepting passes in the silver and black. Now, I don't want to jinx it, but what are your thoughts right now as you wait around and wait to get that knock on the door from David Baker or the Zoom call?
It's funny, but I'm actually trying not to think about it. I think the closer you get to it, you actually start developing a little bit of nervousness, and it's like I don't know why I'm getting nervous about it. I mean, it's a month away, and who knows what's going to happen, but I try not to think about it, JT.
Well, Charles, Intercept Wine has been a huge success. You and I have been talking about it for years. I see your business flourishing. Now you have a whiskey, but there's even more to it as you're mentoring young business people. Give us the big picture on what's going on in your life as a businessman.
Yeah, just trying different things, man. The one thing I try to pride myself on is not being put into a box. Being able to explore different things, and that was when I first got into the wine. That was kind of eye turning or head turning to people. That I was into wine. And then now here comes Woodson Bourbon Whiskey. And, that kind of took people by storm as well. So I would say, man, if you can find good people to be in business with, and you have a passion and you have something that you want to do, then by all means, go for it. So this is the second stage of it for me. First it was with wine, and now it's with whiskey. And look, WoodsonWhiskey.com. If you want to go on to it and see what we're all about, then check it out. But this is just another avenue, man. I'm just trying to continue to build my legend.
Well, I have a bottle of your wine right here, and it's absolutely outstanding. I continue to wish you success. You mean so much to this organization and fan base. All the best in 2021, Charles. Thank you so much for doing this.
JT, always good talking to you, man. Take care.
Thank you, my friend. Coming up next, Hall of Famer Terrell Davis as we continue on Talk of the Nation.
Brought to you by Modelo, setting the gold standard for authentic Mexican beer since 1925. Modelo, brewed for those with a fighting spirit.
Welcome back to Talk of the Nation, and we bring in Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis from NFL Network. So good to see you again, and I got to begin with the Broncos-Raiders rivalry. What did it mean to you every time you took the field against the Raiders?
Oh, it was a big week. I can tell you that. It was always the week that, when you prepared, you felt like you were preparing for the biggest game of the year. And I remember my rookie year, we played on Monday Night Football. It was the first Monday night game I had played. We played the Raiders, and I mean, the whole building, Mike Shanahan, the players, the organization, they made that game seem like it was a Super Bowl. And I got so nervous because the pressure was so big to play well on Monday Night Football. I had my worst game ever on Monday playing against the Raiders. And we won the game 27-0, fortunately, but I had the worst game, man, because of the weight they put on that game.
Yeah, and so many legends played in that rivalry. Terrell, that's what I love about it. If you look at the history of the Broncos and the Raiders and think about all the Hall of Famers who met up and went toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I mean, these are two storied franchises, and when you look at them, and you look at the silver and black and the deep, rich history they have with the players that they have, and of course, Denver is another organization that's been successful for a very long time, and so you're going to have a lot of history and great players coming from those organizations.
Josh Jacobs is having another big season for the Raiders. Can you assess his play?
I love Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I thought he should have won Rookie of the Year last year. He's got a game that's multiple, meaning he can do it all. He can catch the ball in the backfield, run between the tackles. He's got the ability to pick up the blitz. Can make people miss, run them over. So his game is real flexible and multiple. I love him as an individual. I met him before his rookie season at the Super Bowl and had a chance to talk to him. And he's a grounded young man. I love where he comes from. The story about his dad and them living in a car. And, so he comes from humble beginnings, and he's taken that humility and really used that as inspiration to be a really good NFL player. So I think for me, his floor is, or his ceiling it's way up there, and he'll continue to get better and ultimately be the best back in the National Football League.
Now, as you know, we're waiting on a few Raider legends to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame with you, especially Tom Flores, who's waited too long, and the great Charles Woodson. What did it mean to you when you finally got your gold jacket?
Well, Charles is in. He ain't got to worry about that. I mean, Flores has definitely been waiting for a very long time. And, so I definitely feel like his time is coming. It should be up. Hopefully this year he'll be able to make it. But for me, it meant almost like it was the culmination, the closing and final chapter of my career. Before I was inducted, I still had this career that it was amazing, but it didn't have a period. It didn't have an ending to it. And so to finally have that closure, to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it means a lot. It means that, your peers respect you. You have the voters who respect your game and the work you put out on that field. And that's all you can ask for. People respect what you do when you go on a football field.
Now, you've been very vocal during your career after football about helping and inspiring today's athletes. What's the first piece of advice you give to a rookie who's thrust into the spotlight as an NFL player for the first time?
I always try to tell them just to recognize where you are, to meet your older self. And what that means is a lot of times when you're in the league, you don't see the future. You only see what's happening now. And you make decisions based off where you are now, meaning financially, you may not be looking at a planner or looking at your finances after you're done playing. You're not looking at maybe a career after football. And so I try to at least just sprinkle that information on them so they can just take a look at another, themselves years later, and you'll start making moves and things, instead of making them years later, you make them now. And also just the fact that, man, you were blessed to be there, and ask yourself the question, like, if years later, when people look back at your experience and they talk to your teammates, what would they say about you and how you're playing right now? And so that seems to get their attention, because it puts it in perspective where your teammates are the ones that you're really playing for. And those are the guys that you want to get their admiration and get their respect.
Eric Allen, a fellow San Diego legend, talks a lot about Marcus Allen and how much he meant to the community. Was Marcus someone that you admired? Can you talk about that relationship from your high school and hometown?
Oh, yeah. So Marcus was a San Diego legend, and I grew up watching Marcus Allen and basically followed every step that Marcus took. Marcus played for a Pop Warner team called Valencia Park Pop Warner. I played for Valencia Park Pop Warner. Marcus Allen went to Lincoln High School. I went to Lincoln High School. And I used to think that I used to see Marcus, playing in high school, but he was gone by the time I was able to watch him. But that's how big his footprint was in San Diego and how big his legacy was, that he was always there, the name Marcus Allen. So we all watched him when he went to USC, watched him there. And the funny thing about it, Marcus Allen was a quarterback at Lincoln High School and ended up becoming one of the greatest running backs of all time. And of course, I watched Marcus, and got a chance to meet Marcus early in my career. And it was kind of fun to have two guys from San Diego, same home, same high school, and to be able to say that we have, Super Bowl MVPs and Hall of Famers from one high school is pretty sweet.
Terrell, it's always an honor and a pleasure talking to you. All the best in the new year.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. When we come back, my closing thoughts on Talk of the Nation.
Coors Light, an official beer of Raider Nation made to chill.
Welcome back. We'd like to thank you, our loyal viewers, for tuning in to Talk of the Nation all season. There were many memorable moments, but it wasn't the same without you, right here with all of us at Allegiant Stadium. Next season's going to be amazing, with everybody walking from the casinos, coming to this great venue to see Raiders football up close. This stadium will change your life once you get inside, and we have high expectations for next season, because every game will be about the Raider Nation and these fans the way Mark Davis envisioned it. Changes will be made in the offseason as the Raiders continue to improve their roster with the ultimate goal of winning a championship. Next stop is Denver, and hopefully the Raiders bring back a win to Las Vegas and begin 2021 with a victory. For everyone at Silver and Black Productions, I'm JT. Have a great new year.
This has been brought to you by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights. Book now, only at Allegiant.com. Intermountain Healthcare, helping people live the healthiest lives possible. Brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of the Raiders. Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders.